Hey, it's Tara with Reiki on the Run, and I want to talk today about letting go of the baggage you've been carrying around. I'm sure you've heard people say things like, that girl has so much baggage. And we all carry it. And this is how we want to stop carrying it. So we'll talk about ways that it manifests, the way that we carry it around, and why it's not a good idea to carry it around, and how, I'll give you a couple of ideas of how you can stop. So our baggage is really our story. And you might recognize the people as they show up with all their story and they just open it up and lay it all out there. And every conversation they mention being a single parent, a disease they have, how they were abused in a relationship, their shitty upbringing. They just unpack it for all to see every time you meet them. And I recognize this because I have been one of those people. I've been one of those people many times where I just hang on to everything that I've experienced in my life, and I just carry it around and show it to everybody and make a harder life for myself. So two main ways. There's tons of ways that we express this, that it manifests in our lives. And there are tons of ways, but I'm going to talk about the two main ones that I hear and see most often. And the first way is holding people accountable for past transgressions of others. So if somebody gets cheated on in a relationship, maybe even more than once, maybe just once is all it takes, and then the next time they get into a relationship, then they don't trust the person they're with, that's carrying your baggage around, because you're applying something someone else did to someone new who hasn't done a damn thing to you, and you are just applying your experiences. And another way that we do it is holding ourselves back from what we want. Maybe we had a bad experience in a relationship, and now we're just like, forget it, I'm not going to have any more relationships. I don't want my heart to get hurt again, so I'm just going to completely close it off. Maybe you didn't get a job that you applied for and it hurt, and you just think that you're never going to get one, and so you don't apply for any more and you just stay where you're at. Things like that. Things that you allow to hold yourself back because of things that have happened in the past and what your expectations are now set at, because you're carrying that baggage around. You're letting your future be defined by all that shit in your bag that you have. So let's talk about why we should stop carrying all that around. First of all, it is not fair to judge other people for things that they haven't done. It is not fair for you to get into a relationship and not trust your partner because of something someone else did to you. It's not fair to that person. It's not fair to you. And that's with a lot of things. We get jaded by things. We have these experiences in our lives and we grab hold of them and we just blanket place those experiences over everyone else we meet, instead of giving people the benefit of the doubt and allowing them to be their own people. And that's not something, if you think about it, it's not something you would want to have done to you. You don't want to be judged by someone else's experiences with other people. You want people to get to know you and understand you and your heart and let you be your own person, not having to meet all these standards and guidelines and shit because of some past issues with someone else. So another reason it's not good to carry that baggage is you can't grab what you want when you're holding on to the shit you don't want. It's really hard to go out and get those things. If you want a really good relationship, you have to let go of the shitty one you have. You can't, if you were in an abusive relationship, you can't continue to hold on to that abuse and let it relive constantly in your life, because you're not going to get the good relationship that you want. You know, when you understand about how the universe works, and when you're telling the universe what you want, if you're constantly saying all men are cheaters, all men are cheaters, all women are cheaters, all women are cheaters, that's what you're going to get. You're going to continue, if you keep saying this garbage from your past, these things that have happened to you, and you continue to regurgitate them, you'll continue to get the same thing. So you can't get the new thing, the better thing that you want when you're holding on to the shitty thing you don't want. So you've got to drop it to get the things that you want, the things that aren't like those things. Okay? The next one, we are not the sum of our mistakes. We don't let our mistakes define us. Hopefully we learn them and grow from them. And we're not the sum of our past in general. You don't add up all the things you've done wrong and go forward being that. That's not how it works. And sometimes we'll trick ourselves into thinking that's how it works, and that we need to be punished again and again and again constantly for these things, but it's not true. So really good to let go of all those things. Our mistakes, others' mistakes, all of it. Next one, you're allowed to change. I think that's something that really snuck up on me that I didn't really see and understand. And for a long time, I was kind of who my family said I was, and I lived up to their ideals of me, which weren't very good. But I just thought that's who I am, and that's, you know, it kind of gets tricky because when you want to change and you've been a certain way for a long time, and you think that a lot, well, what are the people around me going to think? They're going to not accept that. They're going to think I'm full of shit. Well, maybe I am a fraud because that's not really who I am. And, you know, you can really get caught up in that one, you know, caring what other people are going to think about your changing. But you're allowed to change. You're supposed to change. Evolving is good. And evolve means to change, right? You change for the better, and you want to change. You don't want to be stuck being the same thing you've always been, especially if it's caused you to be not in a good state. You know, if you are struggling with things in your life, change is good. So it's okay to change. It's okay to change who you are and do different things and be a different person. Totally fine. Don't worry about what other people think. Okay. Another reason is you'll feel lighter. You drop that shit and move on. It's amazing how light you will feel when you stop focusing on those negative things that happened in your life. Doesn't mean that they were okay. Doesn't mean it's excused. I understand things happen to people. Things have happened to me. I've been abused. I've been the abuser. I understand. And things aren't justified. Or you might feel like you're justified in your anger, and that's understandable. The only thing is that it hurts you to hang on to this stuff. It's not hurting anyone else. It's just hurting yourself. And so I'm not in any way trying to say if you were in an abusive relationship or something like that, that it was right what they did, that you deserved it, that it should have been done, that it should be excused, any of that. I'm just saying that if you want to move on, you got to drop it. You got to drop that story. Keep telling the story over and over again. You're going to keep creating that same story. So you got to drop it. And you will feel so much lighter when you can walk around in the world and not judge everything on your past and not expect everything to continue going the way that it has just because it has. And you know, I had not the best life, not the best growing up, not the worst, but I had a lot of struggles, a lot. But until I gave up the story of always struggling, I didn't stop struggling. So there's a definite correlation with that. with letting go of the stories and letting go of the baggage and being lighter and in a better vibration to get the things you want. And that leads me to the last one. It directly affects your vibration. If you are constantly reverting back to the problems that you had in your past and how it was then and how it's probably always going to be like that, that's keeping you in a negative vibration. And I talk about this all the time. What you emit is what you get back. And you don't, if you're watching this, you probably don't want to keep getting what you've been getting. So you've got to start giving something different. And that's just your energetic vibration. Your energy that you're emitting out needs to change. And if you are constantly thinking about the shitty things that have happened in your life and how people have done you wrong, unfortunately, that's all you're going to keep getting. So you got to drop it. You got to let this stuff go. So we'll talk about how to stop. Like, it's great and makes sense, but we need some application, right? Some real life stuff. So the first thing is to realize that it's your ego that's doing this and allow your ego to take a back seat. So your ego takes inventory of your whole life, and it has a very important job to keep you alive and safe. And unfortunately, it does its job too well, and it doesn't really allow for growth and change. So you just have to realize that it's your ego. When you go into a new situation, it's your ego that says, don't do this. Remember last time? Remember that one time that thing happened? We can't do this. You can't fall in love because your heart got trampled 6 times already. You can't apply for that job because remember last time you applied for a job and they didn't pick you and you were crushed for weeks. Don't apply for it, because then you don't have to be crushed. And you just have to appreciate your ego and just be like, dude, chill. I got it. It's fine. Thank you. I appreciate the warning, but I'm going to go ahead and do this. And just realizing, once you bring that awareness, it really shifts everything. Just being aware. Okay, that's what it is. And just, sometimes I just talk to myself, a little crazy, I guess, but I just say, it's okay. I got this. Have a seat. And it really works. So understand that. Mantras, I am big on mantras only because I think I'm just a simple person and it really works. And when I'm in the thick of it, I can't think to do a lot of things. And these are just so easy. A mantra is so easy. It's just something that you say over and over again. And I've talked about it many times, how your subconscious mind is what runs your life. 95% of your actions are run on your subconscious, which was programmed into you before you were 8. So from like birth to 6, 7 years old, everything was programmed into you, and that's what you run on today. So even though like up here you might say, well, I want it to be this way, well, you don't realize that your subconscious is running the show. And so you need to change that. So if you're dealing with something that you keep reverting to the past, like, oh, I don't trust my new person because the last 3 cheated on me. You say a mantra, you cut that off. There's a reason that you're thinking that, and it's buried somewhere in your subconscious, and it really doesn't matter how it got there, who, what, when, where, why. None of that matters. What matters is that you're having a negative reaction to things, and you need to shift that. So that's what mantras are great. So I have 2 here that I don't know, my nose is so itchy. I think that means money is coming to me, right? Is that what it is, or is that your hand? I don't know. Okay. So I have 2 mantras that I use. One of my favorites ever is onward and upward, or onwards and upwards. I don't know which one's right, but I use it all the time. Simple, 3 words, and it just means we're moving on. Just keep on trucking. And so a mantra is just something you'd say over and over again. When you get in a jam, when you start thinking those thoughts that you don't want to think, that that you need to move past, just say the mantra over and over and over again. And that'll keep you from the momentum building and going the way that it was, because momentum, man, it's like a train. You keep heading that way, it's just going to grow and grow and grow and get worse. So you want to stop that train, that momentum train, from going into that deep dive of self-pity that you know you're going to go on. And so that stops it in its tracks, but it also starts reprogramming the subconscious. And the more you say the mantras to yourself, the more it starts to sink in, and the more you'll start to believe it, until one day you completely believe it, and you don't even need to use the mantras anymore, because you have been like, screw you past, I'm done with you, and you don't even think about it anymore, and your actions change and your feelings change, and it's fabulous. But until then, you need to use the mantras. And then the other one I have, if you want like a full sentence like a normal person, I am moving towards great things. I am moving towards great things. I am moving towards great things. That's all you need to keep saying when you have that doubt in your head. You have that little voice, and you remember last time? Remember what happened? Remember how they did you? I'm moving towards great things. I'm moving towards great things. Just say it over and over and over again. I'm telling you, it works, because I'm stubborn as hell, and I was always upset about something. Somebody did me wrong, somebody else's fault. It really, really works. I am moving toward great things. That's all you have to think. Just over and over again. Super simple, but it works. Just say it over and over again. Just say it for a minute or two until it passes, until you stop going down that road and that momentum stops. So the next one, I don't know why I'm so itchy. Actually, you know what it is? Anytime I make videos here, I have to turn my fan off. And I'm in Mexico, and it is hot, baby. My back is just sweating, right? But I have to turn the fan off, and so I think that sweat is just getting everywhere. Anyway, okay, sidetrack. Next one, set boundaries. So I don't usually like to look to the past at all. I really try to be present and looking towards the future, the amazing things that are coming my way and that I'm creating. And that's it. But I think it's good sometimes in situations like this to look at how you got into that position. I was in an abusive marriage. Depending on who you ask, will say who was the abusive one. But it was a very, very rough marriage, both of our parts. And I had to look back and say, okay, how did I end up in this situation? How did I end up with that man putting his hands on me? What did I not pay attention to? What did I let go by because I just wanted someone to love me? Occasionally you need to look back, figure out how you got there, and think about some boundaries that you need to set. Like, okay, that's too far. I shouldn't have done that. So this will be one of the few times that I'll say, go ahead and look at your past. Find out your part in how you got there. You always have a part. I married the man, right? Find out the boundaries you should have set and set them. And here's the thing, you have to have boundaries in order to enforce them. That's something that took me a long time to realize too. If I don't take a look at what causes me the greatest anxiety and sadness and things like that, and set some clear boundaries on how to stop it in the future, I can't abide by the boundaries if I don't set them. So you have to set some boundaries. And then it's easy, because then when it comes down to that shady spot where you might have normally maybe just given, you won't. You'll know your boundaries are set, and you'll go, here we are. This is it. This is a boundary of mine. It's being crossed, and I'm not okay with this, and I'm out. Okay? So take a look. Take a good, hard, honest look. See what you could have done differently. Can't always, if your parents beat the shit out of you, there's really not much you could have done, right? But what can you do now? Do you need to set boundaries with other people, with yourself? And then stick to them. but you gotta set them to adhere to them. Next one. View past transgressions against you as learning experiences and move on. I've had to do that. If you've had a negative experience with a lover, with a marriage, with a relationship, and I know I'm talking a lot about relationships, but that's what most of you guys come to me with. So, and everybody can really relate to that, But really, it's in anything in your life. I know it's not just relationships, so please just apply this as needed. But if you have been cheated on, abused, mistreated, now you know what you don't want. And that's okay. It's good to know. You didn't know before. Maybe you didn't think it would happen to you. Maybe you didn't see it coming. Whatever. Now you know. Now you know I definitely don't want that. Thank you for the learning experience. Thank you for making it very clear that that is not the kind of shit I want in my life. Appreciate it for what it was. You've learned from it. Now you know what you don't want and what you won't put up with, and move on. And the last one, start new things in your life. Health and self-care, really good place to start. But anything. The science of creating new experiences and how your brain wires together and what happens when you create new experiences is huge. So even, the typical one to say, drive a different way to work every day, or just do different things every day. Start taking care of yourself. Start being more healthy. Really good place to start, because you're going to knock a few birds with one stone. So start new things. Get new things going in your life. And that's going to help you to start shedding some of this old stuff. And stop telling your story to everybody who will listen. Try it. Try it. Give yourself a week to not tell anyone any stories about your past. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we're really stuck in that story. We are it. We become it. We live it every day. And it might not even be that you're telling other people. You might just be telling yourself all the time. Oh, nobody's gonna love you. You're not good enough for that. Remember what happened last time. And you don't realize it till you start paying attention to your thoughts and realizing, wow, I am telling that same story to myself that I don't need to be telling myself. So that's it for this video. The goal is to create your future, and it's not to constantly relive the past. All you're doing is keeping yourself there, as long as you're reliving that past. And like I said earlier, I want to be very clear that I don't think that if you've ever suffered any abuse, or if you've been on the other end of that and you've been the one abusing, you don't have to hold yourself to that. You can create anew. You can find love anew that will not be the same way it was before, but you have to tell a different story. You can move on and be a wonderful person who provides a lot to other people if you were once the abuser. All is not lost. No matter who you are, no matter what you've done, no matter what's been done to you. Sorry. So many of you send me emails, and it breaks my heart. So many people think so poorly of themselves, and I get it because I did too. And I wish I could just go poof and free you from the bondage that you have got yourself in. So I don't mean to get all crybaby here, but I feel your pain of the things that you go through. I've been there, and that's why I make these videos. I was such a mess, constantly sad, constantly felt like I wasn't good enough, like people didn't get me. I was never going to find love or be appreciated. And I still suffer with these things from time to time. But the difference now from doing all these things that I talk about in these videos is night and day. There's no comparison. The freedom that I feel letting go of this shit is amazing. And I wish that for all of you. All of you, I know I don't answer barely any emails anymore. I just can't get to everyone. And you know, this is one of the reasons I don't do sessions anymore. It's really hard for me to separate it, and it's really hard for me to get involved personally and feel this pain that people are going through on a personal level, because I care about you guys so much, and I remember, and that's why I try to do these videos, and I have my workbooks that will help you if you want to change. You have to put in the work yourself. Listening to these videos are great and they're helpful, but you got to start shifting things. You have to do the things that I say in here to shift yourself out of these energies that you're in, and the freedom that comes with it is amazing when you can drop that shit, drop those stories, drop that baggage, leave it. And let me tell you, don't put it in the garage. Don't put it in the storage. Burn it. Throw it down the river. Get rid of it. Don't hold it there in case you want to go back to your baggage. It's gone. It's done. It's time to move on. Okay? You deserve it. Anyway, if anybody hasn't told you today, I love you very much. I hope this has helped someone. And I'm really excited if you're still listening now. I'm just really excited for you because I know that you are on a path to much more amazing things. And it only gets better. It gets better for me every day. There's always ups and downs, but the downs, man, they're so much quicker when you are prepared and you have these tools to get yourself out of that thinking, because that's what it is. It's thinking. It's all thinking. It's all mental. It's all up here. What goes on in your life, it's all what's running through your head, all your perspective, perceptions, the way you perceive things, the way you respond to things, it's all up here, all up to you. And so when you realize you can start shifting that, man, it's awesome. All right, I'm going to shut up. I love you very much, and I will talk to you soon.